Hi, everyone. We are the Jenkins Joys, Peace, Love, and Down Syndrome podcast. I'm Amy Jenkins.
And I'm Jeff Jenkins.
And just to give you a little background on why we are called Peace, Love, and Down Syndrome, I learned a little while back that Jeff's name, Jeffrey, means divinely peaceful. And I've always known that Amy means beloved. And one day I was looking at something we had received as a gift with the meaning of our name. And as I was looking at it, it hit me, we are peace and love. And I had never noticed that before. So when we were talking about doing this podcast, we thought it would be fun to add that in here. And so that's why we are Peace, Love, and Down Syndrome. And just to give you a little background and a little intro into what our plans are with this podcast, in our experience with having a diagnosis of Down syndrome while I was pregnant, everything that I was finding as I was searching about Down syndrome, because I didn't really know much about it, was negative. It was scary. The doctors, the way that they spoke about it and asking me if I wanted to terminate my pregnancy made me feel like that was something that was sort of expected in the medical community, and that I was odd that I did not want to move forward with that recommendation. And so the heart behind this for me is to change that view. And by doing that, I think the best way is to share the good news about Down syndrome, to share the beauty so that you can see that it's not the narrative that maybe the whole world has heard, or it doesn't have to be. And I just think that has started throughout history. And there are many people out there trying to change that mindset. So we wanted to focus on the good. So I'm going to start and just tell you about our daughter, Tori, who is named Victoria Grace. We call her Tori, although here lately she likes to call herself Victoria. And one of the things that I love so much about her, that I can't imagine her being any different, is her love and affection, and most importantly, her hugs. Tori has this sensitivity about her that a lot of people don't have. She senses when you need a hug. And throughout her life, I have had people come up to me and say, I was having the worst morning, and I was just standing there, and your daughter came over to me, and she just gave me the biggest hug and told me that she loved me. And you have no idea how much I needed that in that moment. And I just wanted to let you know that. And it has been since she was a little girl, time and time again, she has had that sensitivity about her where she just knows when someone needs a hug. And I think that, especially in the times that we're living in, it is something we can all learn. I think it is pretty common for people who have Down syndrome. And I think that it's one of the lessons that we can learn from them is to just be sensitive to other people and share more love. So what do you think?
Well, I was thinking back to, the very beginning stages of where we found out that we were pregnant. And we hadn't really even discuss children very much, and I don't think we were necessarily prepared for just being pregnant at all.
Mhm.
But through the process, then after we found out we were pregnant, we were probably a good 3 months in, I think, before we got this diagnosis. And, early on, I think the diagnosis was about a 76% chance that we would have a child with Down syndrome. And I remember when Amy gave me the news, and I just thought right away, it's like, of course, we want to pursue this. Of course, we want to have this child. And it never even entered my mind that there would be any option that you wouldn't. I mean, that's your child. At the end of the day, the greatest thing you could hope for is that any child would be healthy. And at this point, we hadn't received anything that let us think that she wouldn't be healthy. So, from that point, then we went to the actual day of the birth, and we hadn't told anybody else. We kind of kept it to ourselves because we didn't know what the outcome was actually going to be. But I just remember the first time that I looked at Tori, the first glance into her eyes. And immediately, of course, I knew that the diagnosis was there, but then I also saw something else. I saw my child. I saw our child. I saw just this amazing little character there, and Tori is my second child. It's Amy's first. So, in essence, I had already experienced that before, but I guess it took me back to my first daughter when she was born. And that moment that you first see your child, and then you just in a blink you just see an entire lifetime pass before you of lifetime experiences with this little bundle of joy. So then that I guess I skipped forward a little bit because going back to when the doctors gave us the diagnosis and basically, like Amy said, they kind of almost expected us to move forward, with an abortion or something like that. And of course, it never entered either one of our minds. And the idea that's how they approach things in the medical field is almost appalling. They don't really give you counseling. They don't really offer you any how to make a structured decision. It's almost like it's just expected that this is what you would do.
That's just what the response should be. It's
right, and it's almost like in essence what they're saying is well, this one didn't work out, so let's dissolve this one, and y'all go back and try again until you get one right. And that's just like, how is that real life? How is that the world's? We did get one. So, conception. The life starts at the conception. Once that you have the conception, it's there. You don't get to decide. I don't think you get to decide that. And my argument has always been, if you leave that child alone and you don't abort it, what are the chances that it's liable to be born and have a life? Those chances are usually pretty good. So who are we to go in and change that? But, moving forward in a more quick pace here, from the moment that she was born, her activity was amazing. Like, she came out of, wanting immediately to be fed. I remember, some of the first noises she made was noises that she wanted to be fed and that she wanted to live. She was just a happy little girl full of life. And
I actually remember the first thing you said was, "Look at her. She's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with her."
and she was. She had a beautiful little head of hair.
Yeah, full head of hair. And she was beautiful.
Yeah.
And she wanted,
Full
I
of life.
remember she was ready to eat.
She was. And we had an early moment there where we had to figure out the feeding thing for her. But once we found that, then she was so good, and she's always been good, and still to this day, although she's growing into a young, I guess a tweenie, what do you call it, teenager, whatever that is. She's coming into her own. And some mild changes are happening in her life, but for the most part, she's always been so much fun. She's entertaining.
Very
She's
entertaining.
a little comedian.
She is a ham.
And yet she can also turn around and be high drama. She can have
She's a
a
girl.
dramatic moment. Well, she's a girl, but
She's sugar and spice.
she's also a little actress, and she likes to perform.
Yes. And I just think, the one thing I just want to add to this is, and really kind of to close this out, the intro is, I started at 20 years old working for Texas Children's Hospital in Houston, Texas. And I saw a lot of medical challenges that children face. And I remember that when I started there, I wanted a large family. I thought I wanted 5 children because I'm an only child. And so I had this dream of having a big family. And after I saw so many children with so many illnesses and families that lived at the hospital, I believe, a spirit of fear took over. I didn't realize it, but I think that something happened in my spirit seeing that every day. And I became afraid of having children. And I thought that I would never have children. I thought that I had decided my career was going to be my child and my team, those were my children. And I felt very, maternal in towards of taking care of my projects and taking care of my team and all of that. And that was what I decided because I had this fear of bringing a child into the world. And I think that the best way, we've all heard, to face that to overcome a fear is to face it. And in a way, I think that is exactly what the Lord did in this situation. I think that whenever I learned she was going to potentially have a medical condition, I faced that fear. And I think the message is no matter what we walk through on this earth, when the Lord is with us, we can overcome any challenge, you know? And so the main thing is to be aligned with the Lord, being aligned with His Word and honoring His Word and not taking life into our own hands, but trusting Him with anything that He's giving us to steward. And that includes children. So that is the heart behind this. That is what we're going to do. We're going to start sharing with you all of the beautiful aspects of Down syndrome. So thank you for
Thank you.
listening today, and we will talk to you more on podcast 1. Have a good day.
See you next time.
See you next time.